Hello there, and welcome to 100 Facts Before Sleep. Tonight, we drift into the ancient and extraordinary world of fungi, the deep, hidden network of our planet, written in the soil beneath our feet. Long before the first plants had roots or animals walked the land, the fungi were already alive, silently reshaping the world. They built the first soils. They partnered with all life. They connected the entire forest in a single, vast, and intelligent web. The quiet, living network beneath you is ancient beyond imagination. And yet, it is still moving, still communicating, still growing. This is the story of the fungi. A story of connection and decay, of partnership and poison, of a beauty that takes millennia to unfold. Within every handful of soil, there are whispers of ancient forests, shared nutrients, and a hidden kingdom that is the true foundation of all life on land. If you enjoy these quiet journeys, I invite you to like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps others find their way here, too, one sleepy soul at a time. For now, just breathe. Let your eyes grow heavy, and let this ancient, hidden kingdom cradle your thoughts. Let's begin. Fact 1. The organism you see as a mushroom is not the fungus. It is only the fruit. The true body of the fungus is a vast, microscopic, thread-like network called mycelium, a living lace that can stretch for miles, hidden in the earth. The mushroom is simply how this hidden body reproduces, like an apple on a very large, invisible tree. Fact 2. The largest known living organism on Earth is not a blue whale or a giant redwood. It is a fungus. A single specimen of Armillaria ostoii, or the honey mushroom, in Oregon's Mulhern National Forest, covers nearly 4 square miles. It is thousands of years old, and its immense body is almost entirely hidden, a silent, slow-moving giant beneath the soil. Fact 3. This mycelial network is almost impossibly dense. A single cubic inch of rich forest soil, just a tiny speck of earth, can contain enough mycelial threads to stretch for over 8 miles if they were laid end to end. It is this living lace that holds the entire forest floor together. Fact 4. Fungi do not eat as animals do. They have no mouth, no stomach. Instead, they are masters of external digestion. The mycelium secretes powerful enzymes out into its environment, into a fallen log or a pile of leaves. These enzymes break down complex organic matter into simple, absorbable molecules, which the network then sips, digesting its world from the outside in. Fact 5. For a very long time, fungi were mistaken for plants. But they are, in fact, an entirely separate kingdom of life, just as distinct as plants or animals. Genetically, fungi are actually more closely related to animals than they are to plants. We share a common, ancient ancestor that lived over 1 billion years ago. Fact 6. One of the clearest signs fungi are not plants is the material that builds their cell walls. Plant cells are built from cellulose. Fungal cell walls, however, are built from a tough, durable substance called chitin. This is the very same material that forms the hard exoskeletons of insects, spiders, and crustaceans. Fact 7. Fungi were the true pioneers of land. Long before the first complex plants evolved, perhaps as early as 1 billion years ago, fungi were already living on the barren, rocky surface of the earth. They were the first complex organisms to brave the harsh new environment, beginning the slow, patient work of creating the first soil. Fact 8. How did they create this first soil? These ancient fungi performed a miracle of chemistry. They secreted acids and enzymes that could slowly, painstakingly dissolve the surface of bare rock. This process, known as bioweathering, released minerals from the stone. When the fungi died, their organic bodies mixed with these minerals, creating the very first nutrient-rich soil that would one day allow plants to take root. Fact 9. Plants simply could not have colonized the land without fungi. When the first simple plants, like ancient mosses, arrived on shore, they had no true roots. They formed a partnership with the fungal networks already there. The fungus would explore the soil, gathering water and minerals, and trade them to the plant. In return, the plant would share the sugars it made from sunlight. Fact 10. This ancient partnership is called mycorrhiza, and it is still the foundation of nearly every ecosystem on Earth. It creates what scientists call the wood wide web. The mycelial threads connect individual trees and plants, even those of different species, into a single, vast community. Through this underground web, trees can communicate and share resources, and the forest, in truth, becomes a single, connected organism. Fact 11. A tree under attack by insects can send chemical warning signals through this fungal network to its neighbors, allowing them to prepare their own defenses before the insects even arrive. A healthy, sunlit mother tree can also send sugars and nutrients to a shaded seedling, nurturing it through this hidden, underground connection. Fact 12. Fungi do not have seeds. They reproduce using spores. A spore is a single microscopic cell, a tiny speck of life, often lighter than dust and nearly invisible. They are the primary way fungi travel, spreading on the wind, in water, or on the backs of insects, waiting, dormant, for the perfect place to land and grow. Fact 13. The sheer number of spores is almost beyond comprehension. A single mushroom, like a common giant puffball, can release trillions of spores into the air. A shaggy manna mushroom will slowly melt into a black, inky goo, which is actually a dense soup of its own spores, designed to be splashed by rain. Fact 14. Fungal spores are a constant and universal part of our world. Every single breath you take, no matter where you are on Earth, contains fungal spores. They are in the air of our cities, in sterile hospital rooms, and even in the high stratosphere, drifting between continents. Fact 15. The mushroom itself is a marvel of reproductive engineering. Its entire purpose is to produce and spread these spores. The gills you see under a mushroom's cap are a vast, folded surface, like the pages of a book, designed to maximize the area for spore production. A single gilled mushroom can have a folded surface area of over 20 square yards. Fact 16. Spores don't just fall. They are actively and ingeniously launched. Many mushrooms use a tiny, built-in water cannon. A droplet of water forms at the base of the spore, and when it suddenly merges with another, the shift in surface tension is so powerful that it flings the spore away from the gill surface and into the open air, where the wind can carry it away. Fact 17. Not all fungi trust the wind. Some, like the famous truffle, have evolved to grow their fruiting bodies entirely underground. To spread their spores, they produce a powerful, irresistible aroma that attracts animals like wild boars and squirrels. These animals dig up the truffle, eat it, and then travel, spreading the spores far and wide in their droppings. Fact 18. Some fungi even use light to attract help. There are over 80 species of bioluminescent fungi that glow with a soft, ethereal green light. This foxfly is not for us. Scientists believe the glow attracts nocturnal insects, which then crawl over the fungus, picking up spores and carrying them to new locations in the dark. Fact 19. Fungal spores are among the most resilient forms of life known. They are shielded by a tough outer wall, often containing melanin, the same pigment that protects our skin. This shield allows them to survive extreme dehydration, freezing temperatures, and even the harsh vacuum and radiation of outer space. Fact 20. When a spore finally lands on a suitable place, a damp log, a patch of soil, it awakens. It germinates, sending out a single, searching thread called a hypha. If this hypha encounters another compatible hypha, they will fuse. From this single union, a new, complete mycelial network is born, and the silent, patient work of growing and connecting begins all over again. Fact 21. The primary role of most fungi is decomposition. They are the planet's essential demolition and recycling crew. Without fungi, the world would be buried under an impossible mountain of dead trees, UN-rotted leaves, and the bodies of every animal that ever lived. Fact 22. Fungi are one of the only organisms in the world that can break down a substance called lignin. Lignin is the incredibly tough, complex polymer that gives Wood its strength and rigidity. Fungi, specifically white rot fungi, are the only things that evolved the enzymes to unlock and dismantle this woody material, returning its nutrients to the soil. Fact 23. The evolution of these wood-eating fungi had a profound effect on the planet. The great coal deposits of the Carboniferous period were formed 300 million years ago from vast, ancient forests. These trees lived, died, and did not rot, because the fungi of that era had not yet evolved the trick to digesting lignin. For millions of years, dead trees simply piled up, eventually becoming the coal we use today. Fact 24. The partnership between fungi and plants can be even more intimate than roots. A lichen, which appears to be a single, crusty organism growing on a rock or a branch, is not a single organism at all. It is a symbiotic union of a fungus and a photosynthetic partner, either an alga or a cyanobacterium. Fact 25. In this lichen partnership, the fungus provides the structure, the house, the protection from harsh sunlight, and the ability to absorb water from the air. In return, the algae or cyanobacteria live safely inside this house and perform photosynthesis, creating sugar from sunlight and sharing it with the fungus. It is a perfect, self-contained ecosystem. Fact 26. Lichens are the ultimate pioneers, capable of surviving where almost nothing else can. They can be found in the freezing, dry valleys of Antarctica, on the highest mountain peaks, and in scorching deserts. They are often the very first life to colonize bare rock, slowly creating soil for other life to follow. Fact 27. Some fungi have even formed partnerships with animals. The leafcutter ants of the tropics are not eating the leaves they so diligently harvest. They are farmers. They carry the leaf fragments back to their underground nests, chew them into a pulp, and feed this pulp to a specific fungus that they cultivate in vast, dark gardens. Fact 28. The ants and their fungus are in a partnership that has lasted for 50 million years. The ants provide the fungus with food, protection, and grooming. In return, the fungus becomes the ant's sole food source, producing specialized, nutrient-rich swellings that the ants eat. Neither organism can survive without the other. Fact 29. The fungal world is not just under our feet. It is also inside. Nearly every single plant on Earth, from a blade of grass to a giant redwood, hosts fungi inside its leaves and stems. These are called endophytes. They live their entire lives hidden within the plant, in a peaceful, quiet partnership. Fact 30. These hidden endophytic fungi are not parasites. They are invisible bodyguards. They help the plant in countless ways, producing chemicals that make the leaves taste bitter to grazing animals, or creating compounds that protect the plant from disease and drought. It is another layer of the vast, hidden network that supports the green world. Fact 31. The most important fungus in human history is one we never see: yeast. Yeast is a single-celled fungus. It was likely the very first organism ever domesticated by humankind, long before we domesticated dogs or wheat. Fact 32. Yeast has a special talent: fermentation. When yeast is in an environment with sugar but no oxygen, it eats the sugar and converts it into two byproducts: carbon dioxide and alcohol. This single, simple process is the quiet magic behind two of our most ancient staples. Fact 33. For thousands of years, we have harnessed this magic. When yeast is added to dough, the carbon dioxide it produces gets trapped, creating tiny bubbles that make the bread rise and become light and fluffy. When added to grains and water, the alcohol it produces creates beer and wine. Our first civilizations were built on these fungal transformations. Fact 34. In 1928, the scientist Alexander Fleming returned from a holiday to find a petri dish in his lab had been contaminated by a common green mold, penicillium. He noticed that everywhere the mold was growing, the bacteria in the dish had been killed. This accidental, quiet discovery gave humanity one of its most powerful tools: penicillin, the first antibiotic. Fact 35. Penicillin was just the beginning. The fungal kingdom is a vast, ancient, and still largely unexplored pharmaceutical library. Because fungi have been in a constant chemical war with bacteria for over 1 billion years, they have evolved an incredible arsenal of chemical weapons to defend themselves. Fact 36. Many of our most important medicines are derived from these fungal weapons. The powerful immunosuppressant drug, cyclosporine, which makes organ transplants possible by preventing the body's rejection, comes from a soil fungus. Even the cholesterol-lowering statin drugs were first discovered in a species of mold. Fact 37. In many parts of Asia, a different mold is the cornerstone of cuisine. Aspergillus oryzae, or koji, is a domesticated mold grown on rice or soybeans. It produces powerful enzymes that break down starches and proteins in a process similar to the digestion of a fallen log. Fact 38. This fungal digestion is the secret to some of the world's most complex flavors. Koji is the essential ingredient that creates soy sauce, miso, and sake. It unlocks the deep, savory umami flavor, a taste that would be impossible to create without this patient, transformative mold. Fact 39. The distinctive blue or green veins in a blue cheese like Roquefort or Stilton are, in fact, colonies of Penicillium mold, a cousin of the one that gave us antibiotics. The mold is intentionally introduced, and as it grows, its enzymes break down the fats and proteins, creating its unique, sharp flavor and creamy texture. Fact 40. Fungi are also being harnessed as a future food source. The food product known as corn is made from a mycoprotein, which is the mycelium of a fungus called Fusarium. This mycelial network is grown in large fermentation tanks, and its natural, thread-like texture makes it an excellent and sustainable substitute for meat. Fact 41. Certain species of fungi, often called magic mushrooms, produce a compound called psilocybin. When ingested, the human body converts this into psilocin, a chemical that profoundly alters our consciousness, perception of time, and sense of self, leading to powerful mystical and visual experiences. Fact 42. For a long time, scientists wondered why these mushrooms produced this complex compound. The leading theory is that it's a brilliant chemical defense. Psilocybin acts as a powerful appetite suppressant for insects, scrambling their brains and making them lose interest in eating the mushroom, thus protecting it long enough to release its spores. Fact 43. The most iconic toadstool of fairy tales, the red-capped mushroom with white spots, is the Amanita muscaria. This fungus is also psychoactive, but contains very different compounds. It has a deep, ancient, and sacred relationship with humanity, particularly in Siberian and Northern European cultures. Fact 44. Some scholars have theorized that this striking mushroom is the soma mentioned in the ancient Hindu text, the Rigveda, a mysterious, divine drink that gave gods their immortality. This theory suggests a partnership between humans and these powerful fungi that stretches back to the dawn of religion. Fact 45. Not all fungal chemicals are benign. The fungus Claviceps purpurea, or ergot, grows on grains like rye. When this infected rye was accidentally milled into flour, it caused a condition known as ergotism, or St. Anthony's fire. It led to hallucinations, agonizing burning sensations, and mass hysteria. Fact 46. Some historians have even theorized that an outbreak of ergot poisoning could be the real, physical explanation behind the events of the Salem witch trials in 1692. The victims' reports of feeling pinched, bitten, and seeing spectral visions are uncannily similar to the symptoms of ergot poisoning. Fact 47. The story of ergot has a modern twist. In 1938, a chemist named Albert Hofmann was studying ergot compounds in a Swiss laboratory, trying to create a new medicine. While synthesizing a derivative, he created lysergic acid diethylamide, or LSD. Its powerful properties were discovered years later, all stemming from this ancient fungal poison. Fact 48. The fungal kingdom also contains the most perfect poisons known. The Amanita phallades, or deathcap mushroom, is a simple, unassuming, and reportedly delicious mushroom. It contains amatoxins, compounds that are so deadly that a single cap can be fatal. Fact 49. The true terror of the death cap is its silent delay. The amatoxins travel to the liver and shut down the body's ability to produce new proteins, essentially stopping life at a cellular level. But the symptoms don't appear for 6 to 12 hours, long after the meal is over and it is too late for most treatments. Fact 50. The mycelial network does more than just share nutrients. It also transmits information. Recent research has shown that fungi produce spikes of electrical activity, very much like the neural signals in our own brains. These signals change and become more complex when the fungus is stimulated, a slow, electrical language that scientists are only just beginning to decode. Fact 51. In the wake of the 1986 Chernobyl nuclear disaster, scientists made an astonishing discovery. A species of black mold was found growing on the walls of the highly radioactive, destroyed reactor. It was not just surviving, it was thriving. Fact 52. This fungus, and others like it, are radiotrophic. They are rich in the pigment melanin. The melanin in the fungus captures the energy from ionizing radiation, in the same way plants capture energy from sunlight. It uses this captured gamma radiation to power its metabolism. It is, in essence, eating radioactivity. Fact 53. This incredible resilience has led to fungi being studied in space. Fungi collected from Earth have been sent to the International Space Station and exposed to the vacuum of space, extreme temperatures, and intense solar and cosmic radiation. Many survived, proving their ability to endure interplanetary travel. Fact 54. The fungal kingdom is home to some of the strangest forms of life. The stinkhorn fungus, or Phallus impudicus, begins its life as a strange, egg-like structure in the soil. When it fruits, it does so with incredible speed, growing a stalk in just a few hours. Fact 55. The purpose of this fungus is not to be beautiful. The tip of the stinkhorn is covered in a dark, foul-smelling slime called the gleba. This slime, which smells like rotting meat, is designed to attract flies. The flies land, feed on the slime, and fly away, carrying the fungus's spores with them. It is a masterpiece of odorous deception. Fact 56. A relative of the stinkhorn, the Clathrus archeri or devil's fingers, has an even more dramatic unveiling. It erupts from its egg as a set of 4 to 7 pale, fleshy fingers, which then unfold like a grasping red hand, covered in the same foul-smelling spore slime. Fact 57. The Hydnellum peckii, or bleeding tooth fungus, is another surreal discovery. This pale, lumpy mushroom looks as though it is oozing thick, bright red droplets of blood. This is not blood, but a pigmented liquid that the fungus exudes from its pores as it grows. It is a striking and eerie sight on the forest floor. Fact 58. The giant puffball fungus can grow to be the size of a soccer ball, or even larger, in just a few days. As it matures, its entire solid interior transforms into a dry, powdery mass of trillions of spores, waiting for a trigger. Fact 59. A simple raindrop, a falling twig, or the step of an animal is enough to compress the puffball's skin, sending a visible, smoky, and silent cloud of spores into the air. It is a simple and perfect explosive release. Fact 60. The jelly fungi are a group of organisms with a bizarre, gelatinous texture. Fungi like witch's butter or wood ear are rubbery and can dry out completely during a drought, becoming a hard, brittle crust. Then, after a rain, they will perfectly rehydrate, swelling back into their full, jelly-like form and continuing their life. Fact 61. This strange and resilient kingdom is not just a relic of the past. It is increasingly being seen as a vital part of our future. Scientists are harnessing the fungal network's powerful digestive appetite in a process called mycoremediation, the use of fungi to clean up pollution. Fact 62. Certain species of fungi, particularly oyster mushrooms, have shown an incredible ability to digest some of the most toxic substances we've created. When mycelium is introduced to soil contaminated with diesel fuel or oil, it can break down the complex, toxic hydrocarbons into simple, harmless components. Fact 63. The challenge of plastic pollution may also find an answer in fungi. In 2011, students discovered a fungus in the Amazon rainforest, Pestalozchiopsis microspora, that can eat polyurethane, the main ingredient in many plastics. Most remarkably, it can do so in an environment with no oxygen, meaning it could one day be used to clean plastic from the bottom of landfills. Fact 64. Fungi can also be used as a natural and targeted pesticide. Scientists are cultivating insect-infecting fungi as mycopesticides. When sprayed on a field, the fungal spores will infect and kill a specific pest, like a termite, without the need for broad-spectrum chemical pesticides that harm bees and other beneficial insects. Fact 65. The mycelium itself is being developed as a revolutionary new material. When mycelium is grown on agricultural waste, like corn husks or sawdust, it binds the waste together in just a few days, forming a dense, solid block. Fact 66. This mycelial block is incredibly versatile. It is naturally fire retardant, a powerful insulator, and completely biodegradable. It can be molded into any shape, creating mycelium bricks for construction, packaging material to replace styrofoam, and even a sustainable, vegan-friendly alternative to leather. Fact 67. The electrical signaling of fungi is also a source of inspiration. Scientists are exploring mycological computing. By using the fungal network as a living, self-repairing circuit board, it may be possible to create biological computers that can process information in a way that is more resilient and adaptable than silicon. Fact 68. The magic of fungi is also re-entering our world as medicine. After decades of being classified as a dangerous substance, psilocybin is now at the forefront of a renaissance in psychiatric research. Fact 69. In clinical trials, psilocybin has been shown to have a profound and lasting positive effect on people suffering from severe, treatment-resistant depression, anxiety, and PTSD. It appears to reset the brain, disrupting rigid, negative patterns of thought and allowing for new, healthier connections to form. Fact 70. The future of fungi may not even be on this planet. Astrobiologists are seriously proposing that fungi will be an essential partner for future human colonists on the Moon or Mars. They could be used to grow soil on barren regolith, build structures, and help create the first self-sustaining ecosystems far from home. Fact 71. For many forest creatures, fungi are not a rare treat, but a staple food. Squirrels, deer, bears, and countless species of insects rely on mushrooms and truffles as a primary source of nutrients. Squirrels will even gather and dry mushrooms, hanging them on tree branches to preserve them for the winter. Fact 72. This relationship is especially true for truffles. Many small mammals, like the northern flying squirrel, have a diet that consists almost entirely of truffles. They are true mycophagists, or fungus eaters, and this relationship is part of the forest's grand design. Fact 73. When these animals eat the truffles, the spores pass through their digestive tracts unharmed. The animals then travel and deposit their droppings, which are a perfect, nutrient-rich spore packet that plants a new fungal colony far from its parent. The animal is the fungi's perfect gardener. Fact 74. There is a strange, beautiful plant in the dark of the forest called the ghost pipe. It is a pale, waxy white, with no green and no chlorophyll. It cannot produce its own food from sunlight. So how does it live? Fact 75. The ghost pipe is a mycoheterotroph, or fungal thief. It has tapped into the vast wood wide web that connects the trees, but it does not participate in the trade. It simply siphons off the sugars and nutrients that the fungus is gathering for itself and the surrounding trees. It is a beautiful parasite, living entirely on the hard work of the hidden network. Fact 76. The mycelial network of a single fungus is its body. And just like our bodies, it has an immune system. When a part of the network is damaged, or when it encounters a rival fungus or a hostile bacterium, it can recognize the other and send chemical signals to mount a defense, sealing off the breach. Fact 77. How does a mushroom, growing in total darkness underground, know which way is up so it can push through the soil? It uses gravity. Fungi have specialized cells that can sense the pull of gravity, allowing them to orient their growth perfectly, ensuring the cap opens towards the sky and the gills face the ground for a perfect spore drop. Fact 78. The fairy ring is a natural, circular pattern of mushrooms that has inspired folklore for centuries. It is not a magical portal, but a beautiful and simple sign of how a fungus grows. It is the visible edge of a single mycelial network that started from a single spore at the center. Fact 79. The network expands outward from its center point in a perfect circle, consuming nutrients as it goes. When it has enough energy, it sends up its fruiting bodies, the mushrooms, at its outer, active edge. The ring gets wider and wider each year, a slow, visible ripple in the earth, marking the quiet, steady expansion of the hidden organism beneath. Fact 80. While the mycelium grows slowly, the mushroom itself can appear with astonishing speed. Some species can emerge and fully mature overnight. This is not because they are growing in the traditional sense. The mushroom is actually pre-formed underground as a tiny, dense knot. When the conditions are right, after a rain, it doesn't grow, it inflates. It rapidly absorbs water, expanding its pre-existing cells like millions of tiny balloons. Fact 81. Our relationship with fungi as medicine is ancient. When the 5,300-year-old mummified body of Otzi the Iceman was discovered in the Alps, he was carrying a pouch. Inside were two types of fungi. One was a tinder fungus used for starting fires. The other was a birch parleypaw, a fungus known to have powerful antibiotic and antiparasitic properties. He was carrying his own prehistoric first aid kit. Fact 82. A fungus called lion's mane, a beautiful, cascading white mushroom that looks like a waterfall of icicles, is being studied for its remarkable neurological effects. It contains compounds that appear to stimulate the growth of nerve cells and myelin, the protective sheath around our nerves. It is being researched as a potential tool to help combat cognitive decline. Fact 83. That beautiful, earthy smell after a rain, known as petrichor, is not just the smell of wet soil. A key component of that scent is geosmin, but fungi play a key role, too. The rain awakens the dry fungal networks, causing them to become active and release their own spores and chemical compounds, which mix with the air to create the complex, fresh, and ancient smell of wet earth. Fact 84. While the armillaria fungus in Oregon is the largest organism by area, the record for the largest single fruiting body, or mushroom, ever found belongs to a Phelinus gilvus discovered in China. This single, massive, woody bracket fungus was over 35 feet long, 5 feet wide, and was estimated to weigh over half a ton. It was thought to be at least 20 years old. Fact 85. There is an organism that looks and acts like a fungus, but is not a fungus at all. Slime molds are a bizarre and beautiful mystery. They are single-celled amoebas that live independently. But when food is scarce, they send out a chemical signal, and thousands of them will crawl together to form a single, large, pulsating slug. Fact 86. This collective organism, the slime mold, shows a shocking form of primitive intelligence. In laboratory experiments, a slime mold has been shown to solve mazes, finding the most efficient path to a food source. It can even anticipate periodic events, remembering when a food source is due to appear. It is a living, moving, and thinking community of single cells. Fact 87. The humble Pilabolus fungus, which grows on animal dung, has a spore-launching system that is one of the fastest biological movements on Earth. To get its spores away from the dung and onto fresh grass where a cow might eat them, it develops a water-filled stalk that is photosensitive, meaning it can see and aim towards the sun. Fact 88. When the pressure inside the stalk is high enough, it ruptures, launching its black spore packet with an acceleration of over 20,000 gs. It is a microscopic, silent, and perfect biological shotgun, ensuring the next generation can begin its journey. Fact 89. The Earth star fungus is another marvel of form. It begins as a small bulb, but then its outer layer splits and peels back, forming a beautiful, star-like set of petals. These petals raise the central puffball up off the ground, giving it a better position to be struck by rain and release its dusty clouds. Fact 90. One of the rarest and strangest fungi in the world is the Corioactis giesta, or devil cigar. It is found almost exclusively in Texas and Japan, a mystery in itself. It grows as a dark brown, fuzzy, cigar-shaped pod. When it matures, it splits open into a beautiful 4 to 7-point star, releasing its spores with a strange, audible hissing sound. Fact 91. The hidden fungal network is one of the planet's most important climate allies. As fungi decompose wood and leaves, they are actively pumping vast amounts of carbon deep into the soil, where it can be trapped and stored for hundreds or even thousands of years. Fact 92. The bodies of the fungi themselves, their necromass, are a key part of this. As the mycelial threads die, their tough, chitin-walled bodies become the very foundation of stable, carbon-rich soil. This fungal graveyard is one of the largest and most permanent carbon sinks on the planet. Fact 93. A fungal network has a sense of self. A single mycelial network can grow to be acres wide, and it knows where its body ends and another's begins. If two networks of the same species meet, they can test each other's compatibility. If they are genetically identical, they will fuse. If not, they will form a distinct border, a line in the sand, and respect each other's territory. Fact 94. This network allows for incredible acts of community. When one tree in a forest is infested with aphids, it sends a chemical distress signal through the mycelial network. This signal is received by a nearby, different species of plant, like a bean plant, which will then begin to produce its own aphid-repelling chemicals before it has even been attacked. Fact 95. At the center of these networks are often the largest and oldest trees in the forest, known as mother trees. These trees are the most connected hubs, acting as the heart of the community, connected to hundreds of other trees. They use their fungal partners to nurture the youngest seedlings in their shade, sending them the water and carbon they need to survive. Fact 96. This entire system, this trading of resources, this sending of warnings, this nurturing of the young, points to a form of distributed, decentralized intelligence. There is no single brain, but the network itself acts as one. It senses, reacts, and adapts, making decisions that optimize the health of the entire forest. Fact 97. Some fungi in the soil are not decomposers. They are hunters. To get the nitrogen they need, these predatory fungi have evolved microscopic, lasso-like traps. When a tiny nematode worm crawls through one of these loops, the loop inflates in a fraction of a second, trapping the worm. The fungus then digests its prey. Fact 98. The incredible diversity of colors in mushrooms, the red amanita, the blue indigo milkcap, the purple amethyst deceiver, are not just for show. These pigments are complex chemicals that serve as sunscreens to protect from UV light, as toxins to deter animals, or as signals to attract partners. They are a visible sign of the complex chemical language of the fungal world. Fact 99. In the end, the most profound fact is the simplest one. Fungi are the bridge between life and death. They are the engine of resurrection. By patiently and silently breaking down the old, they unlock the nutrients that are the building blocks of the new. Every dead leaf and fallen tree is, to a fungus, a promise of new life. Fact 100. The kingdom of fungi is not a strange, alien world. It is our own. It is the soil we are built from, the partner that feeds our plants, the source of our medicine, and the quiet, intelligent network that holds our entire living world together. And as you drift off to sleep, that network is beneath you, growing, connecting, and dreaming its own slow, ancient, and fungal dreams. Good night.